Hi, Eric Lanask here in Miami. We're at ITEXPO. On the program with me today from Stream is Bill Podrasky. Bill, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, absolutely. Pleasure
Good to talk to you. So, lot of excitement, lot of innovation around this kind of evolution from M to M to IoT. Just so many exciting things taking place. Where does Stream fit into the whole IoT equation?
Right, so Stream's opportunity in the IoT ecosystem is on the connectivity layer. So what we're doing is we provide a unified access connectivity environment that is agnostic to data, network, and device type. So this allows operators and enterprises to manage, monitor, and monetize any endpoint device regardless of radio protocol. One of the challenges today in the IoT is how do you get 100% of that data off of any device, regardless of what the radio protocol is, and then get it up to the upper layers into the business intelligence layer so the data they deliver to the C-level executives is actually the data they need to make critical business decisions. So that's what we're doing at the connectivity enablement layer.
How big of a variance is there in terms of different devices that you're pulling data off of when it comes to applications that are really built for a specific purpose or a specific vertical market or a singular specific application?
Right. So what we see is typically in any deployment you could have one of several different radio protocols. You could have cellular devices, satellite, Wi-Fi, low power, Zigbee, Z-Wave. So you could have a mixture of all of that at different endpoints around the world. So a business today, what they have to do is basically have siloed platforms that are collecting that information, if they can collect it at all. A lot of these endpoint devices, they have to get data the old-fashioned way, which is someone's driving out there with a USB, putting it into the device, pulling the data off. Now that's not efficient,
to say the least.
Right, to say the least. So the efficient way to do it is to have a common approach to doing that. So any device out there, if you can get that data into in our case, we have data collection nodes. Take that data, parse it, and then send it up into the upper layer so they're actually getting pertinent data that they can then mine from an analytics perspective and then again make these important business decisions. And so today it's a very fragmented, Eric, where you have different disparate platforms. They're not tied together, so it makes it much more difficult for an organization to really manage and monetize the IoT because they're not getting 100% of really what's going on with that data on those devices.
When you say that currently, one of the issues is that there are so many disparate platforms, are you referring to having separate collection platforms based on the different transmission protocols?
Yeah, so as an example, on the cellular side, you would have a platform like Ericsson or Jasper or Core or other companies. I mean, we have a platform as well. The satellite operators would have their own platform to collect information out of that. If you're trying to manage a Wi-Fi or a low-power platform, well, good luck, because there's probably nothing out there today. So you're faced with, I have to take information from all the cellular connections from this platform and try to manage them with this platform, the connectivity. And then if I've got some satellite devices, well, now I've got to use another platform, and then so on and so forth. So the end users are faced with the swivel chair effect, where I have a UI for my cellular connections, I have a UI for my satellite connections, I have a UI for the other connections. Why can't we just give them one interface, tie that all together so that regardless of what that endpoint device is, they are able to manage the connectivity and then get all that data up to be analyzed properly. So that's where we're attacking this problem.
And I imagine that sort of going forward, the low power connectivity is you mentioned there may not even be a platform available to handle that. That's going to be more and more critical.
It's absolutely critical. I mean, you nailed that, because if you look at the billions of connected devices that they're talking about out there, 80% of those will be low power. So that's a huge opportunity for companies to monetize that at the endpoint. So that's where we're coming at this. We have a lot of expertise in low power. We're focused heavily on low power, along with the other ones, but that we see that as really a great opportunity. So we have 15 years in the market as a company, both offering end-to-end services, and our platform's evolved over 10 years of development. We sort of have this mantra within Stream that says anytime you need to do a task twice, automate it. So we've really automated this platform, evolved it over the last 10 years, and added all these protocols to it. So it's really an agnostic solution environment. So we're not necessarily calling it a platform anymore, Eric. We're calling it a unified access connectivity environment because it really scoops everything up.
What are the challenges with collecting and aggregating data based on all the various protocols?
So the challenge is just making sure that you're able to point the endpoint devices. Mm-hmm. It's not really a challenge. It's actually fairly straightforward. An endpoint device just needs to have a URL or a destination address that gets pointed into our data collection nodes. And what's interesting about low power, I mean, with cellular you have SIM, satellite, you have kind of a similar SIM-based solution. But with low power devices, a door lock, a Bluetooth device, you need to know, how do I identify that device? And you identify that device because there's a unique identifier on each chip in that device. So if you're able to point that device to our data collection nodes, which is fairly easy to do, then that stream of data that comes in that packet, we're able to parse that and say, oh, that's a door lock. Here's the data from the door lock, and here's where we need to send that data. So really, I guess you could say the challenge for us is just to make sure that we continue to evolve the technology and the innovation we have in our data collection nodes to ensure that we're staying on top of the market that way.
I guess the logical question is if it's not all that difficult, why hasn't anybody done it until now?
Well, it's difficult because it takes years to evolve. So we've really spent the last 10 years evolving this connectivity solution. So it's taken a lot of work. 80% of our company is developers. So we've recognized the problem. We recognized it early on with cellular. We evolved it to satellite and then low power. So we make it seem easy. But anything easy, there's a lot of hard work behind it. So our goal is to make it easy and to hopefully explain it to people so they say, oh, I got it, and the light bulb goes off.
Which part of this, so if you look at the solution as a whole, covering the different transmission protocols, and looking then at having now developed something for the low power market, which of those is going to be a greater differentiator for you going forward?
Well, certainly we feel low power is going to be an important differentiator just because we believe we're first to market there. But I think backing that up is the ability to say it's agnostic. So we can, if you're a company that has several platforms today, we can come in and knit that together, tie that together, and you don't have to replace anything. So our value proposition is you don't have to take what you have and throw it away. You can take what you have and extend it. So that you can preserve that investment, and then we'll come in and help you really future-proof things. So we believe it's kind of both from the perspective. Really, what is your problem? And we try to come at this from a partner perspective. Is let me understand your problem, your gap, your needs, and instead of having you fit our solution into your processes, we're going to understand what you need, and we're going to fit our solution into what you have.
Excellent. Sounds like a very reasonable approach.
We're excited.
Well, Bill, thanks so much for being on our program today. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, thank you very much, Eric.